through God in Uganda. We have a table set up out there, so afterwards, if you have any questions, please let us know. We brought a sample of the birthing kit and a sample of like a meal that we would provide for the families that you're going to see in the videos. I'll just tell you real quick how this Hope got started. In 2005, I had a brain tumor, and after it on, I kept feeling like I was supposed to go to Africa, you know, and the feeling wouldn't go away. So I sought out a local ministry in Defiance, Ohio called Children's Lantern to see if they went to Africa. They did not. They were able to connect me with a ministry in Fort Wayne, and they did go to Africa. They went to Uganda and Kenya. So I started traveling with them in 2013 and ended up going 1 to 2 times a year, and fell in love with the Ugandan people. Their ministry is basically child sponsorship, but while I was there, I saw many, many needs that were not being met medically. I am a registered nurse, and I kept thinking, this is just such a simple fix, but because of the economy there, because of the government, because of all of the injustice there, it's very, very difficult for them to get even basic care. So in 2017, I started This Is Hope and brought on my first board member, Stephanie, and then my husband and a few other people. So we have been working over there since about 2017. We're going to share with you a little bit. Most of these pictures most of them are from our recent trip. We just got back in April. End of April, May. Yeah, I'm all confused. All right, so I don't know if I'll do this right, but I'll try. There, okay. So our injustice shuts her mouth. I felt like that kind of described what I felt when I was there. We deal in a lot of different areas, but mostly healthcare. So when we see a health need, we try to step in and assist. We've also become very involved with nutrition, lack of. Birthing kits have been very popular there in Uganda. I'll talk about those later. We do help educate and provide feminine hygiene kits to girls in school, and I'll talk about that later. And then we have come across several housing needs that were actually pretty urgent, and so that wasn't our intent to build houses, but if they don't have a place to live, then that all rolls right back to the health. And so we did step in several times with housing. And then we have some current emergency needs that we're trying to supply what they need. And so I'll be covering those also. All right, so I'll share with you who we are. Right now, we have 5 of us that are involved. Myself, Amber Grant, Stephanie Lloyd, my husband Marv, and Nancy Howard Lopez. Nancy lives in Arizona, so it's fascinating to me because she has never been to Uganda, but she is so in love with the Ugandan people. Just recently, Amber, Stephanie, and I went to the trip where we got back in May. This is our Ugandan director and his family. His name is Zed. We could not do the work we do in Uganda without Zed. I met Zed back when I was traveling with the other ministry, and he was always our driver. And over the years, I just developed a relationship with him, and I saw his heart and how much he cares about the people of his country, and he has become such an important part of This Is Hope. So we are now established in the United States as a 501, and then now we have just completed the process of becoming recognized as a nonprofit in Uganda, which was very difficult. It took us 3 years to get that status, but we felt it was necessary in order to do the work that we want to do in the future. So Zed and his family, they live in Uganda in the capital city, Kampala, and he is in charge of the van. He takes the kids or the people that we help to the hospitals. He's actually got a lot of work coming his way that I'm not sure he understands because of the 501 now in Uganda. So he's going to have to learn how to keep receipts. All right, Uganda is known as the Pearl of Africa. It is the most beautiful country ever. Um, this is Kampala. This is not beautiful. Oh, wait, go back. Wait, it's just going. I'm going to stop pushing buttons. All right. Maybe I. Okay. Don't go anywhere. This used to frighten me quite a lot when I go to Uganda because you can see the traffic. There are no traffic laws. They just go. And the bodas, the motorcycles, are like ants. They're everywhere, and they cheat because they can go around all the other cars. So they're the ones really that cause the traffic jams. But now I just laugh when I'm in the front seat because it's hilarious. But this is Kampala. It is westernized. So you will see cars and tall buildings, but not on the level that you would see in America. But they do have this capital, and it is quite packed. And we always try to avoid the jams. And then as you go out a little bit further, you start, okay. It's still very crowded. People ride on those bodas like that, like just all over the place. We'll see women side saddle with newborn babies and just mortified. They have, actually, this is a resort that we stay in when we are in Kampala, so we're not roughing it the whole time, I'll just be honest. So, but it's very beautiful there. See if this goes. Oh, I'm supposed to point it back there, aren't I? That's what's going on. Okay. Over on the right, you can see how they construct their buildings. Very primitive. And again, the bodas are always loaded with all kinds of things. And then they just put this bridge in, going into a smaller community that we spend a lot of time in named Jinja. So just a little bit of sight for you. There we go. Now I got it. You'll see meat along the road. I don't eat the meat when I'm there. Stephanie's brave enough to do that, but I'm sorry, I just can't. Markets, those are like a sample of a gas station. So as you get closer out into a lot less of the buildings, and this is more of what where we love to be, is out in the bush. So just some sample pictures of what it looks like. This guy over here is carrying a bunch of eggs. They're very resourceful. We ran into these ladies in the middle of the last trip. They thought we were comical. They were having a lunch break from their hoeing, and we wanted pictures. So, all right. The guy on the right has those are those grasshoppers or termites? That's right. Yeah, they eat termites. Amber wanted to try them, but we wouldn't let her. The guy on this side, he's in Jinja preaching. Every so often you'll see them doing street preaching there. I think the last statistic I saw was that there's like 85% Christian there, but they're mostly Catholicism, and not as much gospel. There is still quite a few Muslims, and then there is actually still witchcraft and cannibalism in Uganda. But the cannibalism you don't hear about too much. Witchcraft you hear a lot of. We've actually encountered a situation with a witchcraft doctor, which we were very upset about. We had a young girl who was very malnourished. Her name was Immaculate, and we were working with her and her mother to health, and lost contact with the mother, and she decided to go the witchcraft route. So the witch doctor, I believe it was bloodletting. He just let all of her blood out and let too much out too fast, I guess, and she died. So we were quite upset about that, but witchcraft. My green light went off. Should I put, oh, there it is. Okay. These are just some pictures of some of the healthcare situations that we've witnessed. Pregnant ladies, it's not comfortable. Very basic, primitive. They do have some large hospitals that you can, if you have a lot of money, you could go to, but their government-run facilities are very, very bad. Usually what happens is the money is in Kampala, the capital, and then the further out you get, the supplies have been either taken for personal use or sold, or they just never get there. So in the communities that we've been working in, most of the time, they just don't have the supplies. So these are a few of the medical things that we have touched while we've been there. Malnutrition has actually become very, very obvious to us, I guess I'll say. It really wasn't the thing that I thought we would be working on, but there's so much malnutrition there that it's just quite disturbing. So we do a lot with malnutrition. We have a couple patients you're going to see here in a moment that had suffered severe step in and help with. Birth defects happen there. There's no prenatal care that's good, so it causes a lot of birth defects. There's also a lot of, I don't want to be too weird about this, but okay, so you have a small community out in a remote village. Well, there's no transportation, so there's a lot of interbreeding that goes on within that community. So you'll see some birth defects that are just genetic from not being away from their families. And then there's also, because of the lack of prenatal care, we see a lot of birth defects. So we have spent a lot of time and effort on a couple of girls that had hydrocephalus. You see quite a bit of hydrocephalus there. A lot of hernias. We've had several patients that have been burn victims. We have a little guy you're going to see here in a minute who they make their bricks by taking clay and making them into forms, and then they stack them up, and then they light a fire in the middle of it, and it bakes the clay. And so one of those fell over on him, and he was burnt very. So we've had several burn victims that we've helped with. Cancer treatment, we've had some cancer patients that we've helped with. One, we had a success. The current one we're working on right now probably isn't gonna live very long. He's a young boy who had lost a leg to cancer out in Chibuku area, and they asked us to help him with some school fees and some nutrition because dad had spent all of his money on medical. And so to help him get a follow-up, they found cancer again. And so we've gone through treatment with him. The treatment was free, but the transportation was an obstacle for them. So we were able to transport him back and forth, and is too much. So that there's much more we can do for him, but keep him comfortable. So malaria treatment. Malaria is awful. I would say a mosquito is probably the most deadly insect or animal in the world. A lot of kids don't live past the age of 5 because of malaria. The malaria is very bad there. They don't have treatment. They use the same medications over and over again. They become immune to those, and it's resistant. So then there's no treatment for it, and they get very sick and they die. Or they're in an area where they can't get any help. So there isn't free medical. There's free medical care, but it's very, very poor. But it's not like here where we can go to the doctor and then we get a bill. So if you go to the doctor there, you have to pay first. You can't just go get help. So if you don't have the money, you don't get treated. So there's a lot of death with malaria. We've helped with quite a few surgeries. This is Martha. I started out with Martha instead of Beatrice because I thought that we'll kind of warm you up to this. Martha has hydrocephalus. We have been working with Mom, who's there in this picture. The problem with the hydrocephalus is we will get her healthy. We will get her to the hospital, get her nutrition back. We'll have her checked out at a hospital for her hydrocephalus. And then Mom goes back to the village, and Mom has no resources, no money, no transportation. She has other kids. So, I'm sure that she's using the nutrition packets for all of the kids and not just Martha. But so it's been a revolving situation with Martha. We've probably taken her 3 or 4 times now, three or four, where she has gotten severely malnourished, and then we work with Mom to get her back up. So while we were there this time, we ran into a ministry called Imprint, and they work with their moms and they educate the moms. There's a lot of superstition in Uganda. If you have a child who's handicapped in any way, it's a curse. They will kill the babies or they will leave them to die. Stephanie, I think, heard a story where they'll actually take them out into the river and just drown them. Unwanted pregnancies, a lot of times they end up in the latrines, the pit latrines to die. So Martha, we really want her to make it and we want mom to succeed. We talked about trying to place Martha somewhere so that she could get what she needs. But Imprint is going to take over now after we've gotten her help. They're going to have her come in, going to spend a 7-week course with this ministry called Imprint, and they're going to teach mom that it's not a superstition. They're going to go out into the community and teach her neighbors that it's not a superstition. They're going to teach her about the swallowing and issues from the hydrocephalus, and hopefully then her nutrition needs will continue to stay where they need to be, and mom will be fully equipped to take care of Martha. Martha's dad, in case you're wondering, is in jail. That's our director here, and then that's a picture of the guy from Imprint that was helping us that day. This is Beatrice. Found up in the corner there, perfect example of the superstitions. They left her to die. She was in her grandmother's care, but they were not feeding her. They were just letting her lay there to die. Someone brought that to our attention. We her to a hospital, and miraculously, that's her now on the right. She is at an orphanage. We did find an orphanage that would take her that specializes in special needs. They typically will not take a child if there's a living parent. Both of Beatrice's parents are alive, but they are not allowed to have her back per police. The police will not let her go back, nor would we let her go back because of what they did to her. But she's a miracle. She is a true miracle of God, because I don't know how you go from there to there without God. So she's doing well. We visited the orphanage this time. Again, we always like to visit. She was so heavy, I couldn't hold her. She's big. So she's doing well. And they follow up with her with doctors for her hydrocephalus. And so she's in good care right now. But we do support them. We have to help pay for her care. So we're sending money to the orphanage periodically. We supply, actually, we don't send the money. We send diapers. We send food, soap, things like that the orphanage can use for all of the children that live there. This is Paul. Paul is one of our burn victims. Paul is the little boy I was telling you about that had the bricks fall on him. He and his dad are very close. It was not neglect. It was just an accident. He was burned so badly that he lost fingers and toes. And I tried to find the least graphic burns looked like, and this was the best I could do. We visited Paul this trip. He is doing well. He does have some deformities. And we were told that his school, he gets a lot of bullying. So dad is doing a good job of taking care of him, but he needs a little hand up. So we have a family that stepped up, and they're going to pay the difference of school fees to get him into a better school where he won't be bullied so badly, and it'll just be a better school for him. So that's how we're helping Paul now, since all of the medical things are done. So we continue to help him with some school fees. This is Reagan. He's the one I was telling you about that is not going to have a good outcome. Reagan lives out in the Chibuku area. Again, we were asked to help with our friends that live on that area. This boy is very brave. We spent a whole day with him at the hospital this last trip, waiting. It's you go. At one point I asked Reagan, I said, can I do you need anything? And he said, I'm hungry. And I thought, I never even thought to ask if he had eaten anything that day. And so, just stoic, didn't ask waited till I asked him what he needed. But him and his dad are very close too. I'm concerned about the family. I did ask our partner, who is a pastor, if Reagan is a believer, and he is. So at least we know that his healing may be in heaven. So, but he's a good kid. He's still going to school. This is Margaret. Lately, we have encountered some albinos in Uganda. If you can imagine, it's right beside the equator. So all of us would burn very badly there. Ugandans don't burn because of the pigmentation of their skin, but when you have a person who's an albino, they're very susceptible to many things, one being cancer. So she had this incredible wound on her shoulder that had been there for a long time. And a ministry partner asked us to have her checked out. We took her to the hospital. They did surgery. She was doing well. I will say, though, that she had a skin open up again. They wanted to do another biopsy and make sure it was okay, and she refused. So we can't make her go, but we told her that if and when she's ready, we will take her. She's a mother and she has a lot of children. Without the mom, the children suffer. So, we try to help however we can. I am going to talk to you a little bit about albinoism, though. In Uganda, again, superstition. They are in grave danger. People will cut one of their limbs off because they think it's a good luck charm. And I'm sorry if I'm getting too graphic with the kids, but the women will be raped because there's a theory that you can be cured of HIV if you rape an albino woman. So many superstitions surrounding them. So they're always in danger in Uganda. So it just so happened, though, that when we met Margaret, we also met another albino man who they had torched his house. So I have pictures of him in a minute too, but that kind of started coming up to us a lot too. It's funny how things will go in spurts. We'll have a lot of burn victims, or we'll have a lot of mothers dying in childbirth, or we'll have a lot of malnutrition. It always goes in like a cycle. This is I can't say his name, Mutwalabi. He had a huge cancerous tumor on his elbow. We were able to help him with the doctor. Long story short, his cancer, he is, as far as I know, he's in remission. It was removed, and through the process, he became a Christian. So it was helping him with a medical need ended up saving his soul. So we visited him a couple years ago after that was done, and he's just so happy. He has a Bible now. He goes to church. When we're there, we try to do medical camps. We couldn't go during COVID because of all of the rules and the restrictions, but this is a medical camp we did before COVID. This was the gentleman here just so happens to be a dear friend of ours who on that particular trip was killed in a car accident. His name's Paul. His special man. He did a lot for the people of Uganda. And we were doing this medical camp, and he left us that day to go to a meeting and left us with Zed and transportation. And then the next morning we found out he had been killed in a car accident, and a couple people that were with him. He left behind 3 girls and a wife. But Paul was instrumental in us starting our ministry because I learned a lot from Paul when I would visit with the other ministry. We would talk a lot. And so he was very instrumental in getting This is Hope up and running. So people, when they come to medical camps, they just come in grows because, again, they can't get medical care easily. These are just some of our patients. It's so fun because some of them like to have their pictures taken and some of them don't. But this lady on the right, she cracks me up because she's very stoic. But this is Steph working on a patient. We were working with a doctor there named Kenny. He is also a pastor, so he was helping us out. And then I was doing some nursing stuff. It was very, very busy. They get really anxious if you're getting ready to stop and they haven't been seen. It can get kind of ugly because they want to be seen. So you have to have quite a lot of people to help you with that. But We did some nutrition assistance. A lot of it what happened during COVID. We did it from here. I should also tell you that we work 365 days a year in Uganda. We don't just do this twice a year when we go on a trip. We work continually with the people of Uganda. So during COVID, we were able to get thank you to those of you that donated for the van. That has been life-saving. We were able to use that van with permission through the government to transport meals to people because people were going hungry because they couldn't go anywhere. Here in America, if you were out during COVID, you didn't get beat to death, you didn't get shot, and you didn't get put in jail. In Uganda, that happens. There were police chasing people through the streets. They were beating them if they came out. So when you have people in Uganda that can't get out and about, especially the ones in the big cities, they were going to starve. The people out in the rural areas, at least some of them had gardens that they could still find food, but it became quite an issue. So we were able to do a couple of COVID-related nutrition distributions. So this is just some of the packaging that we did. These are some of our recipients. Happy pictures too, so. Oops, skipped one. That's a normal building structure out in the bush. They just use the mud and the sticks. It washes away a lot in the heavy storms that they have. So a lot of times we'll get a request of a widow that lost her house and could we help with a shelter or something. We can't always meet the need. We try really hard. This is a family that we've helped off and on. We don't have much contact with them now, but the little boy with the crutch, we started helping him. He got tuberculosis in his knee. So here in America, we'll hear of tuberculosis in the lungs, but there they can get it in the bone. And so he had a crippling, large bump on his knee that we helped him with. So that's why we started helping his family. But this woman, yeah, and I hear the family's not doing real well, but we got quite involved with them for a while. Just some more random shots of people getting packages from us. About that. I'll try not to go too much longer. I think I'm probably taking it. Yeah. This thing's really sensitive or else I'm heavy-handed. Okay, birthing kits. We do have a sample of one on our table, so please feel free to stop and look at that. In Uganda, women have to take their own supplies to the doctor. If they don't, they are turned away. There is deaths in Uganda from either the mother dying in childbirth or the baby dying because it was a difficult labor. So we put together these birthing kits and we put them in a backpack and we pass them out when we're there, and then we leave some with our director so that he can distribute them while we're gone. People are walking miles for these birthing kits because they can't afford these basic supplies. They are required to bring sterile gloves. They are required to bring a razor blade to cut the umbilical cord. They have to bring their own umbilical ties. They have to bring gauze and cotton and a sheet to lay on. And these women that live out in nowhere have nothing. They don't even have enough to feed their families. So birthing supplies are very, very difficult. So they are very excited when we give these. We added a few extra things to our birthing kits. Well, I don't want to put there. Okay. So you can see a picture on your left. We put pads in for the mother. We put all the medical supplies in, the sheet, and then we like to add a flashlight because the power goes out a lot in Uganda. As we found out this last trip, it went out more than it had ever had. But if a woman is giving birth and it's dark, they can't see if she's hemorrhaging or if there's any difficulty. So we'd like to throw a flashlight in also so that they have something they can see with. And then we also like to put in an outfit for the baby and a blanket because they don't have things to send their babies home in. So sometimes dad will take off his only sweatshirt or t-shirt and wrap the baby in it. So we try to make it so that it's a nice birthing kit. This is a baby that got one not too long ago. And then this is someone we found when we were traveling to give one to. We also help with feminine hygiene products. Girls in Uganda don't have access to the pads and things like that. So we have some women in Finley that have been sewing these reusable pads for us. So we try to take those over with us as much as we can. You give them to the girls, they are able to go to school then, and they can not have to stay home for a week because they're on their period. So this is a picture of some girls this is a picture of what a birthing kit or a hygiene kit might look like. So there's pads, and then we put panties in for them and a bag to carry it in, and we put soap and some plastic bags so they can wash them. They can use one bag for the dirty pad, one for the clean to wash it. So those are very nice. I don't have a sample of those with me today. I couldn't find it, so I'm sorry. This is them learning how to use it. I love the sign in the back. It says, "Dad has a cow, a big, big cow." Of an emergency housing situation that we run into. These women I'm going to talk about for a minute because we're looking for some people to come alongside us with this adorable. There's two sisters, and we call them Jajas because in Uganda they call the elderly women Jajas. It's kind of a grandma term. So this was their house. It was falling down, and they were in danger. I had actually gone in it when it was like this, and it was going to at any time just fall. So Zed and our ministry partner, oh my gosh, George, they decided, how should we do this? What are we going to do for them? And that's one sister there and one. We have one of the sisters is blind and the other sister is lame. The sister who's lame had a child, throw a jackfruit at her. A jackfruit weighs a lot and somehow damaged her so that she can't walk. So these two women have been trying to take care of each other. And so what we do is we were able to help them with wheelchairs, but it's funny because when I go, it looks like they don't use them. I guess you can't teach them something different. So, but we supply them monthly with food and soap. And so we're looking for people who want to come alongside and kind of adopt a Jaja for time now. And it takes us about $75 a month to help them with their food. So even if we had two families wanting to split it or something like that. So we're kind of starting to try to find donors or sponsors for some of the elderly people that we've been working with. So this is Kilago. This is the other albino man that I was talking about where they torched his house for no reason, just because he's albino. So they completely destroyed his structure. That's just what was left of the hut that was the kitchen. So they had to sleep outside for a long time. But we were able to step in, and up in the corner, you can see the house we built for them. They were very, very, very grateful. I don't know how they would have rebuilt, but somebody in the community decided they didn't like him, and he was a curse of some sort. So. Oops, wait. Go back. Okay. Wells. So we don't typically build wells, but we have dug two since we've been in business in Uganda. We also built an orphanage. We are not involved in the orphanage, but we did help construct it. People will carry those yellow jerry cans. And most of the time it's children that will carry these to get their water. And usually their water source is one of those two that show the dirty water. So a well can significantly help a community health-wise. So we're always looking for the reason to make them healthy. So this way they can have clean water. That well there will serve an entire community. So those are important, but we haven't really gotten into those too much, just the two that we've done. All right, this is George and Sylvia. This is, I referenced George a minute ago. I love them. Sylvia has her own ministry. She helps women learn skills. That's her main ministry. She has set up a place for women to learn how to do hair, women to learn how to sew, so that they can take care of their families. That is the whole goal, is to have the family be self-sustaining. We don't want to just always take care of somebody. We want to enable them and give them a hand up and to help them find a way to take care of themselves and their kids. So George and Sylvia had this beautiful ministry. He also runs an orphanage in Chibuku. They have a church that is growing a lot. He just planted another church in another community. So they're just, we love them so much. So we help Sylvia quite a bit. Sylvia will be the one that usually calls us with some kind of an emergency for a person who's in labor and they're not going to make it. And so usually I can send funding and then we can get the treatment that they need. So we work a lot with Sylvia. George, we help, actually Steph's managing his blood pressure right now because he has high blood pressure and he's not getting the right care. So if he dies, then all those kids, it's just a vicious cycle. So we're managing his hypertension right now from America. Oh, go back. Okay, so this is some pictures of their church, just so you can see what a church looks like in Uganda. Those are metal walls and some timber that hold it up. It's not the most perfect structure, but actually this is probably pretty nice compared to some of the churches that we've seen. I just wanted to show specifically two things. When someone gives their life to Christ, they don't just do it quietly, they do it in front of the whole church, which I think is interesting and fun, because there's not a lot of people that want to do that. We can't even get down to the altar at our church. You know, I don't want to get out of they make them do it out front. This guy down here in the corner, what he's doing is he is worshiping. That he's part of their worship team, and he is so into his worship that he is on his hands and knees and he's sweating, pools of sweat. We've seen this a couple times where the spirit is so intense in some of these churches and the worship people are really, really immersed in worship. So I think that's fun to see how other people worship. All right. This is the van that we were so fortunate to get. Thank you to the Schroeder family. We couldn't do what we do without this van. This van is extremely important to us. It's how we transport our patients. It's how we transport the food when we have to get food somewhere, how we pick up the medicine and deliver it to our patients. This has been a true blessing, definitely. Oh, sorry. Okay, so these are some of the families that we're looking for some help or that we're in the middle of helping. This little boy has a very sad story. His name's Joel. Sylvia found out that the dad was abusing him a lot, very badly. The people in their community was upset about it. His own grandfather turned his son in because it was so bad. Joel had a mom, so I'm going to try to explain this. So in Uganda, it's very odd. So if you leave each other, like let's say mom and dad split up, most of the time dad gets the child and the mom leaves. In this situation, the mom left with the child, but then she decided that she couldn't take care of him, so she came back and gave him to the dad to take care of. Well, the dad started abusing him very badly. So Sylvia stepped in. She's a social worker by trade, and then she has been working with us to try to get him help. This is his stepmother that's holding him, this is another very unusual situation, is stepmothers usually will not care for someone else's child. So typically, when the child goes to be with dad, there's going to be neglect because the stepmom's not going to do anything for this child because it's not hers. In this situation, this stepmother is helping. She is also pregnant. She was being abused also. So long story short, they met with this man who was abusing. The whole community gets together and they have a meeting all these people get together and they have a meeting. He's lucky he didn't get lynched because that would be the normal way they would deal with him. But they got him to stop abusing Joel. We felt like, okay, Joel's going to be okay. We're just going to some nutrition for him. But the situation in Uganda is so poor that he's still very susceptible to the malnourishment, which is, we got pictures of him this week, and he's not doing well. So we're looking again, we're always looking for people to partner with us on a specific person. Joel needs some help. He's going to need monthly help. So if someone feels led there, that's a situation that we're still not sure what's going to happen long-term with him. But for right now, we're just trying to make sure he has food. And we're also worried about stepmom because she's pregnant, and that means no prenatal care and another child who's going to come into the world with potential birth defects and all kinds of things. This is another family that we just got word about. I'll try to go fast because I don't want to keep you guys. Arafaz is the gentleman over to your far left. That's him and his mother. This is really short story. They got kicked off their land because they sold it because his dad was sick. So they sold the land to pay for the medical bills. So now they're homeless. His brother died, taking care of his brother's children. He married a woman to help and had the boy in the orange shorts, and the family came back and took mom because he was too poor. So, are you following me? So this poor guy has his mother, his brother's kids, his own child, and then recently a woman brought 2 more children that said that they were his brother's children. So he has to try to care for all these people with no land. They are completely homeless. Now, the good thing is that they can get their land back for $200 American. So they can get their land back for that, and then they can build some kind of structure. At least then they're not homeless. It seems to me like the man, this Arafaz, is trying very hard. So he's someone we'd like to give a hand up to. We'll probably try to raise the money for his land, and then we'll probably try to help out a little bit until he can get established. So those are the kids that he's taking care of, his mom, and simple fix, for us. All right, baby Sam. Baby Sam's another one that we're looking for some assistance with. This is a complicated story too, but I'll try to make it simple. Baby Sam's mom died in childbirth. He was born on June 16th. So there's nobody to nurse him. So it just so happened that the paternal uncle's wife had a baby on June 14th. So she is nursing both babies, which is awesome. However, with superstition, and if this mother starts to become malnourished herself, this baby Sam is going to be the first to suffer. So we're trying to step in and help with this one again with just some basic nutrition help until he's old enough to not have to nurse. So baby Sam, and then this is his family down in the corner. That's dad and his siblings. So this woman at the top is nursing both babies, which is going to be a lot for her, especially when she's not going to have a lot of food. So we're just trying to step in with some porridge and some extra things to help keep her healthy while she's nursing him. This is Esther. We love Esther. I met Esther when she was over there on the left. We have another situation where stepmom wouldn't care for her, so she was pretty much abandoned in a shed. Friends of ours heard her crying. They stepped in. I started getting involved with her before we had This Is Hope, and then now we're continuing her care. She was very malnourished. She does need surgery. Her legs are bowed like that. And then this is Esther way over here. We have her in school. She's living with our director. He's raising her, but there's another child who we could use some help with school fees. And then she'll have surgery to get the legs fixed. But Esther's been part of our life for a long time. This is Alamanzani. This is another new situation for us. This child is basically just malnourished. This baby just needs help with nutrition. This is Jaja Magdalena. She's the world's best hugger. She is an elderly woman who we help. She also needs someone to help her financially with food. Now, we don't send the money to the people that we're helping. We send them to our trusted Ugandan director or our ministry partners that we know, because you don't send money to people, you give them food. Magdalena, we just recently bought a bed for her. We met her because she had COVID. We helped her with COVID medicine, and we've just developed a relationship with her. I got a message the other night that she really needed a bed because she was sleeping on the ground, and there was a poisonous snake in her her bedding, and she needed a bed. So we got her a bed. Everyone likes sweets, so when we go, we pass out lots of suckers. I think it's a little boy, was at Corsu getting treatment for legs. They have a lot of clubfoot too from tough birthing. Just kids just come in to get their sweets. We like to bring back crafts and sell them to raise money to then continue our work. So we support the local artists. We bring them back, we sell them, we make more money to then put back into the work we do. We have no administrative fees in our ministry. Everything we get, we send over. It all goes for the ministry. No one gets a salary. No one gets help with their trip. When we travel, we pay for our own trip. We don't ask anybody to help us with the flights or anything. It all goes for the Ugandan people. So the ladies in Uganda learned how to make these beads out of paper. They're beautiful and they're very popular, and everybody loves them here in the States. So Joyce has her own ministry where she teaches women how to make jewelry. So here's another situation where we're purchasing the beads from women who are making them in Uganda, and it helps them take care of their children. So that's Joyce. She's a hoot. We do have 5 acres of land. We are still paying for it. Our goal is to build a nutrition center. We want to, instead of just be running all over the place, we want to settle in a community and make a long-lasting impact in a community. So we would like to do preventative care, things that will keep these people from getting into the situations that they're in. So this is the land that we've purchased. Again, we're still paying for that, but we do have 5 acres. And this is, how can I help? You can pray for us, first of all. Prayer is the best. Any financial donations is always greatly appreciated, and monthly donations. We do have the ability to accept monthly donations on our website. And then the other thing you can do for us is just share what we're doing. We are in some festivals this year. We're speaking at some churches. We're trying to get out there. We so appreciate you partnering with us, and I'm so glad that we got to meet you today, finally. And then I think that's the end of that. And then I had a fun little video I'm going to play for you just so you can see some of the stuff we did around Christmas time. And then we're done. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. This is Hope. We are preparing to set off and be a blessing to those people living with leprosy. Thank you so much for your contribution. Thank you for always standing with us. We are so humbled by all you do. Thank you again. Cindy, we love you. Thank you.
Mbula na sente ndio mwidwaliro
Mufireku ntereire yani blouse yani moni ne bali aho katonda wa mukisa yabakora